I am Michael DeVellis. This is the Powder Group Conversations with D'Angelo Thompson on grace and gratitude. Today, the Powder Group Conversations is brought to us by 6 incredible sponsors without which we would not have the opportunity to provide such important and insightful discussions to our community. Those sponsors are Skindinavia, Cinema Secrets, Omnia, Muse Beauty Pro, Beekman 1802, and Senna Cosmetics. Incredible brands supporting our pro makeup artistry community throughout the years, and I'm so grateful. So thank you to all of our brands for your sponsorship. And D'Angelo, good morning. Good morning to you out west. Good afternoon to our folks on the East Coast.
Yes. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing okay. It's cold here. We had some snow. It's beautiful. You didn't have any snow. It's warm there. Very different. I love both, but you have to embrace the moment, right?
Yes, you do. You
have to embrace the moment. I'm embracing the cold and the snow. It's awesome. We have only 30 minutes on these programs, so I could talk to you all day, but I want to ask you the most important question first. And we've talked about gratitude before. I want to talk about grace first. Okay. What does that word mean to you?
It's interesting. I was thinking about it last night, and I also looked it up this morning, and none of those definitions really touched me. What I believe grace is, I'll give you a perfect example. You're in an argument with your partner, or you've done something within your family structure, and it's really bad. But you either choose to go in and, have the argument or the discourse, or you choose grace, which means that you're just going to let it go. You're going to extend love. You're going to extend love like the great mother would, or how the universe would, and just let it go and forgive, So that's what grace means to me. It's like we're often given grace in our life. Often, yes.
It's a big word, and I think about this word. It's funny. I mean, we're on the same page. I also looked it up this morning. I wanted to jump in. I wanted it right in my brain before we started. And I wrote some words down because what's interesting is I think this idea of grace, right? We know this as a powerful word.
Right.
There is no use of the word grace, including the definition you just gave us, that is not powerful.
Yes.
That is not powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we think of saying grace at dinner,
right,
it's powerful. Whether we're very spiritual or very religious, we say grace to give thanks, right? We're grateful. We're giving thanks, but we're thanking God, or we're thanking the universe, or we're thanking Mother Nature for our beautiful vegetables, right? Whatever we're doing, we're giving grace. We're being grateful for what we have. Amazing Grace, one of the most powerful songs in the history of songs, right? Mm-hmm. The word grace is always powerful. And I thought what was interesting was, and I wrote some of these words down, courtesy, politeness, yes, decency, decorum, respect, mm-hmm, thoughtfulness, consideration.
Yes.
I mean, these are all great words to live by. Mm-hmm. And I think that your definition is even a much more important one than that. Mm-hmm. Because I think this idea of using grace in a way that allows us, I don't want to say to necessarily forgive, I'm not putting words in your mouth, I think to move forward, to move
on. Yes.
Is grace to you something that you put forward or you take in?
I think it's both. Think about being on set when they ask you for grace. We all know that term, right? And often they don't really mean it. They just mean they're going to continue shooting. But if you're a very conscious department head or key makeup artist, you understand that, yes, you can, I'm going to give them grace. I'm going to back off. But you could actually say, no, I want my department to break right now. Grace is really just letting it go and saying, okay, we're good. That's what it is for me. Yeah.
It's interesting. How else do you feel like grace as a word, mm-hmm, or concept applies to our industry, to makeup artists, to brands? I'm going to ask you that question, and then I have a follow-up to it.
Mm-hmm. I think consideration, you use that word in your definitions. Consideration, I think in our business, it's important to be considerate. It's important to be acknowledged. It's important to understand what we do and how we do it. And grace is a part of that, for sure.
What part of, we live in a cancel culture. We live in a cancel culture. Mm-hmm. one thing. You just, everybody, boom, right?
Mhm.
That certainly doesn't seem like grace to me.
Well, it isn't. It isn't. It's judgment. So that's something we can talk about that.
Well,
It's
so let's talk about opposites. We can talk about
yeah.
opposites here
Let's
too.
talk
So,
about
okay, so
opposite.
that is cancel culture is not having grace. That is not being graceful.
I don't think so. Like, look, I believe this is a time where veils are being lifted, and we're going to see a lot of beauty in the world. We're going to see a lot of darkness as well. We're going to see things that we never thought was going on. And of course, you get emotional and you think, oh my God, I can't follow that person. I don't want that person, around me or anything. But that's judgment as well. Even if it's a dark thing, it's judgment. You know, we have to be really careful because I know for me, when I post things on social media, I think a good 2, 3 minutes before I hit send or post because I'm like, how is this going to be received? And then sometimes I don't know if I can curse out. I go, fuck it. I'm going to post it anyway, and whatever comes from that, I will deal with it. But cancel culture really is about being careful and considerate and making sure that what you've done and what you put out into the ether can be looked under a microscope, which is awful, but very true. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think I don't think it was in the definition that I had pulled up or that you probably read, but there's a kindness to grace as well.
There is, yes.
There's a kindness, almost more kindness than a forgiveness to me. If we can be kind and we can understand that there are moments that everyone, myself, yourself, every artist, every brand would look back on and say, maybe I could have done better. Maybe that wasn't my best.
Yes.
And if we, as the receiver, I love that you said you're receiving, right? As the receiver of information, if we can say, it's kind of do unto others as they do unto you. It's kind of like thou without sin cast the first stone. There's all these great
Right.
quotes
Well,
and phrases and ideas. But I think that the receipt of grace is something that people have to be open to.
true. Very true. That's very true. As you were talking, I was thinking about clients when they sit in our chair and sometimes they don't feel good. You know, maybe there's self-esteem issues, there's body issues, whatever it is. And if you're a great artist or hairstylist, you're going to listen first and foremost. And it's our job really to calm them, to extend grace to them, to extend kindness, consideration to them. And I was told when a talent is in your chair, that's the last thing they really do before they hit set, whether it's a talk show or episodic, procedural, or a film. So your energy, your grace, your kindness, your consideration is very important. So that's kind of how I look at it within our industry and also within, friendships and family as well.
I didn't think about this before, but as you were just describing and as you were gently moving your hands, and I was thinking of me sitting in D'Angelo's chair, accepting in this energy. The word graceful is obviously based on the word grace. And so being filled with grace, I think if we approach, this is like a thing, right? I literally got a little like moment here for myself. If I am approaching all of my communications and engagement and interaction with a gracefulness,
Yes.
with a softerness,
Yes.
with a kinderness, I know I'm making up words.
Go
If I'm approaching all of those things, because it is no surprise to anyone who knows me, works with me, yourself, my team, my community, I can be blunt and I can be soft.
Yeah.
And it depends on the moment. But I think having grace means way less of the blunt and much more of the soft approach.
Or a balance.
Or a better balance.
I say you have grace with your yes and you have grace with your no. So if a client calls me and the number they give me is so low, I'm insulted, you can still be graceful with your no. Thank you for calling me. I appreciate it. I'm going to pass on this, but I may have a junior artist for you. That's grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. What are some of the ways that you think grace affects our relationship with others?
I think if you're centered, you're graceful and grateful, your whole experience is different. Even with those those producers that are coming for you, they can't because you're not giving them that energy. You're like, hi, how are you doing? What's up? What's going on? What are we doing? They can't give you that that power struggle that they're trying to develop with you, and they don't understand it, you know? So I think being graceful and being grateful is very important, you know?
It's you're not fueling the fire. You're not giving it, you're not putting more wood on it. You're not putting more kerosene on it. You're extinguishing it.
Yeah, and you're not being a pushover. I want to be very clear with our guest here, TPG family, is you're not being a pushover. You're really, because trust me, if I have to confront something within our work environment, I do, but I
Mm.
also do it in a very graceful way. So,
Um, what are some characteristics? I mean, we said things like, civility and decency and thoughtfulness. Are there personal energy characteristics that when you, and I know, I don't want to say I know, I make an assumption. You
mhm.
don't walk onto a set or engage with someone at an event or a trade show or on a project and think to yourself, does this person exhibit grace? It's probably not the words that go through your head, but what are some of the characteristics someone can put forward in order to be filled with grace?
I think it's how you engage with other people, that you're present, number one. And number two, you're making eye contact, you're really being sincere, you have follow through. All of those exhibit grace. Yeah.
I think that's important. And I think that as an industry, we can tend to get caught up very easily in, you know, that hustle,
Yes,
the
yes.
hustle. And I think that if nothing else, and there's a lot we have learned over the last year during this time, there's a
Mhm.
lot.
Yes.
Um, if one thing has come to me in a very big way is I am able to create stronger, better, and more meaningful relationships when I'm not hustling and running around, when I'm
Yeah.
not going to an airport 5 times a month, when I'm not, you know, trying to, drive all over town to see 20 different people. We all love the engagement in person. We all love these things. But it's funny because I didn't think about it till you just said what you said. There is a grace that comes from that. There's a gracefulness. There's a thoughtfulness, their
Mhm.
consideration that
Right.
comes from that ability to give more time,
Mhm.
to give more time.
It's true. And to center yourself in the morning before you start your day. You know about the whole gratitude practice, and I do it. I did it this morning before I got on here. It's 10 to 20 things I'm grateful for. That's very important for me. My coffee is very important for me. So there are certain things that I literally get up an hour and a half before I have to leave the house, or 2 hours. I give myself at least a solid hour to kind of like, just reboot and just make sure that I'm in the zone. If I have one person to do that day, or if I have 10, that I'm present, and I think that's the biggest thing. And with the hustle and the grind, which we all were doing pre-COVID, um, was great. But think about it. A lot of us were like going through health issues and so many things because we weren't conscious of what we were doing. And I think 2020 made us all more conscious.
There's a cognizance, there's an awareness of it.
Yes,
That's great.
very much so.
Um, One last question on this idea of grace. Are there physical things like the goods? Are there things that you can do? I know for gratitude, you have a process you go through. We'll talk about that in a moment. But are there any things that you can do besides, again, giving yourself the extra time, maybe not overbooking yourself so you can actually give each part of your day the attention it deserves? Are there other hard goods, other steps, other techniques that you use to make sure that you're exhibiting grace or that you look for in others?
Yeah, I really appreciate a thank you card, and I do those, and I've done them from over 2 decades. I literally, after a job, I'll come and sit down, in my office, and I'll think about the person or the producer, whoever hired me, basically, and I will think about all the people I had contact with, that was instrumental in the day going really well, and I write them a thank you card. And I've been doing it over 20 years, and it's something that's so simple, handwritten, guys, not a email, mail it. It touches them in a very deep way. And I've been told this by producers that have been clients for over 20, some 30 years. So it makes a difference. So that process after everything is done throughout your day, it doesn't have to be just work. It could be family or friend or Michael or whoever. Thank you. Yes.
It's important. I want to shift into the idea of gratitude. I want to ask one question that sort of applies to both, though.
Okay.
Do you feel like grace and gratitude are energetic or physical actions or emotions, or are they both? Like, how do you manage that piece? Because some stuff is here, some is here, and some goes out.
It's interesting. I was talking to someone for about 6 months last year, not a therapist, but kind of like an energy healer. And she was like, D'Angelo, you're always here, and then sometimes you're here, but I don't feel your feet very solid, like grounded. So I would say to you, Michael, it's all of it. It's the mind, body, and soul, and also the grounding, you know? So it's a combination. Gratitude and grace, it's a combination. It's a physical alignment and also a spiritual alignment.
Do you think that it is something that, I mean, I think of the word consistency as well
Mhm.
here.
Yes.
The idea of grace or gratitude
Mhm.
for a moment.
Mm.
mm,
For a moment, I don't think it's a moment. I think it's constant.
Yeah.
It's like the blood in your body. It's constantly flowing.
I'll say this. I'll take the grace and I'll take the gratitude for a moment if that's all I can get from it for you. But I'd prefer to see the consistency. I
Yes,
think a
yes, yes.
lack of consistency, I'm not putting my marketing, coach hat on here, but a lack of consistency makes us doubt. It makes
Right,
us not trust. So
right.
if I feel like this person is very gracious to me, is very consistent with me, but I see them behaving or engaging in a poor way on social media with others,
Very important. Yes,
that's
yes.
grace is all in or all out if you want to
360,
affect your own energy, right?
360. In every
360.
aspect of your mind, you can't be mean to your family and then come to work and be a great cheerleader, it's not
Mhm.
aligned, It's really has to be very even keel and a 360 approach.
I think it's probably also really good for you personally and your energy to not have to put on grace hat, take off the grace hat. It's like I think being who you are in an authentic way and being filled with grace and gratitude in an authentic way is the way that we get to be whole. We get to feel whole. We get to be present for others and feel whole for others. Let me ask you a little bit about gratitude. Why, there's a lot that you do that has to do with gratitude. You've got your podcast, you've got your 100 days of gratitude, which we'll talk about. Why gratitude? Why was this such an important idea, concept, and way of moving forward in your life and career?
Michael, if I can circle back really quick, you said something really beautiful. You said, don't put on a different face for different people or different clients. Keep that same face. That is so important. You can't be kind to your celebrity client and then everyone else around you you're barking at. It's really consistent across the board. And I think I want to extend that to everyone. Just keep the same face on, period. You know,
Yes.
Gratitude for me, it's kind of my elixir, my serum to keep me really, really grounded. And it's important to me, and it is important to me to share to everyone is that if you come from that place, you'll see a whole molecular shift, a molecular shift.
What is what is that shift? What does that shift do for you?
It's funny, it's trust. It's trusting in the universe that the jobs will come and they do. That I'm building a community, which I am, and I try to consciously every day. It's really just it makes me more engaged in everything that I do. That's it.
What are some steps that you use? And I want to talk about the book because I've explained this to you already.
Like,
I've used this as my big step. It's like, having this has been a big shift for me. Um, what are some steps that you take to ensure? Because well, I think what you're saying is incredibly important. That gratitude, that coming to each thing,
yes.
each project, each client, each brand I communicate with, each artists you communicate with, or even each comment you make on social media, right? I'm not saying every comment should be about being grateful for that artist to post that post. That would be silly. But I think if it comes from a place of gratitude, I am so grateful that this has inspired me. I am so grateful that this has given me an idea. This created a spark. I am so grateful. If you're coming at each thing from that perspective, that's got to shift a lot for you in how you can move forward, right?
You used one powerful word within that statement, inspire. Gratitude inspires, grace inspires, what you do, education inspires, So we all plant seeds. And ideally for me, if I was to leave the world today or tomorrow, I would hope that my legacy would be inspiration. That's what gratitude and grace is.
Well, number one, don't go anywhere. Number two, I absolutely will vouch for the fact that you inspire every day. What are some of the? I know I interrupted your answer, surprising. But what are some steps, some tools that people can use to make sure that they have gratitude in their life?
Two things. Start your morning. Just you can jog it in your mind or you can write it down what you're grateful for. The second thing is when you're in a crisis or you're stressed out, which it happens to all of us, guys, I'm not always zen. I have my moments. I start to jog gratitude in why am I experiencing this? For instance, like I'm grateful that I'm having this experience, but I'm not going to receive it. If someone's yelling at you or angry or whatever it is like, I hear you, and maybe there is some work I need to do, but I'm not going to receive it in this way. So it's really it's almost like a Wonder Woman shield. I wear this bracelet and it's cuffed for a reason, right? It's kind of your boop, bouncing it back at people like, I'm not going to take this, dude. I'm going to process it by being grateful. I'm going to walk through it, but I'm not going to receive it in the toxicity from our engagement. So that's the two things that I think grace and gratitude does for me.
I love that. And I think, what I'm going to take from that for me personally is I'm going to look at everything that comes into me that number one, yes, some things we are just simply grateful for.
Yeah.
I can have a conversation with a brand partner, like our amazing sponsors, and they say, we love what you do. We want to support you. We appreciate you and we appreciate your community. And that makes me grateful to our brand partners. It also makes me grateful to our TPG Pro members and our artist community, because without them being as supportive to the brands. So I'm filled with gratitude in those moments, right? But then there are times when maybe the answer isn't a yes, or maybe the answer isn't something we want to experience. Yes. And what I'm going to take away from what you just said, so thank you, is I'm going to first stop before I have an energetic reaction, or certainly before I respond to an email.
Take a beat.
And I'm going to ask myself, why am I grateful for this moment? Mm-hmm. Is it going to make me think differently about how I approach my brand partnerships? Is it going to make me feel differently about how I put together the magazine? What are the things that I can do differently because of this response? So I'm going to look at every yes or no, every positive or negative, and I'm going to say, what makes me filled with gratitude about this moment? Not maybe what makes me filled with gratitude about the answer or the situation. Because like you said, no one likes to be balked at. Mm-hmm. No one likes to be, spoken to in a way that isn't positive. No one likes to be made to feel less,
right,
or insecure or bad about themselves. So that's not necessarily the takeaway in those moments. The takeaway is, what can I be grateful for? What fills me with gratitude about this moment?
Right, that's very true. And one more thing is that I remember working with someone and they had told me to do something and I took it upon myself to do something else. Let's just say that. And and then she came to me, she was very upset. She's like, I wanted you to focus on this talent, not shift the whole department around like you just did. Because I thought someone else was stronger on a certain thing. So I put them on this person. And I was like, ooh. I apologized immediately because she was right, because I should have just followed. And then what my ear heard was like, you need to listen and be grateful that you had this interaction with this person, because they didn't fire you. They actually kept you. They said what they needed to say. So I'm grateful for that interaction. And I'm grateful that now I understand I need to listen and also follow through with what I heard and not create my own reality,
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's important too, right? We can turn anything around to fit our story,
right.
right? We can make that about how that person doesn't understand that you knew better. That person had a power trip issue. That person was a control freak. Or we can say, I'm grateful that dot, dot, dot.
She was right. I had to just suck it up and go, you know what? You're right. You did say that. You said it to me twice. So,
That's going to remind me to say everything to you 3 times from now on.
and I repeat myself sometimes 3 times when I'm talking to someone. I'm like, just to make sure they heard me, because, and some people say that's really annoying, but I believe that you have to make sure someone understood what you said and not in a condescending way. It's just like, just affirm that you kind of repeat back to me what I just told you and go for it. Yeah.
Listen, no one's gonna lie and tell you I don't repeat myself. I am the king of redundancy.
It's good though. It's
It's
good.
good.
Like,
Because then if it comes back and you're like, how did you not understand this? I literally said it to you 3 times in email and text and vocal, the voice, right? One other question. How do you feel like gratitude affects us internally?
Health, wellness, centered. That's how it affects us. Yeah.
It's powerful, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is.
It's an energy. I want to talk about this before I let you go anywhere. This is just, I mean, I like my book, 10 Words, it's cute and everything, but this book is like my life. This is my every moment of my day. Like there's no day I don't pick this book up at some point.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Michael, where can I get your book? First and foremost, I want to ask you
I'll
about
send you one. I'll have your address.
I want to buy one.
Or at 10wordsbook.com,
Got it.
10wordsbook.com.
Okay. I will order it today.
But I'll just refund your money and I'll send it to you anyway. So don't bother paying for it. What brought this about?
When I'm bi-coastal, so LA, New York. So when I moved to LA to expand, also to go to school, I'm in school. A lot of you don't know that, but I'm in school for psychology, finishing my BA and going to get my master's. That will help me expand this journey in gratitude and look at it in a more deeper way. In 2018, I sat down at my desk, which is over here, and 3 books flowed out of me, Michael, and this was the first one. So when I say flow, meaning that I felt like I wasn't in control of the pen or in control of what I was typing. I just knew that it had to come out of me. Now, the one thing I said, what got me here? And I was like, gratitude. So I wanted to share that. So that's what inspired the book.
Because this will be on podcast also, and they can't see this, I want to mention the book is a 100 Days of Gratitude, exploring the seen and unseen blessings in life. I love this book, and the way I use this, and I've told you this already, I use this book. I don't meditate well. My brain is like bing, 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 bing. And when I try to meditate, sometimes I get off track. And so for me, what I do is when I need to take a moment and I need to kind of have a fresh start, I'll pull this book out. It just sits on my desk. I actually have 2. One sits on my desk and one's in the bedroom, just so everybody knows. Got to have 2 of these. Keep them around you. And I'll open up to a random page. It's 100 days and it's supposed to be in order, but D'Angelo knows I don't follow the order. I just kind of go through it and see. And I said, one day I'm going to read it cover to cover straight through. And I'm going to find a bunch of pages I never got to by opening it randomly. And it's going to be like a treasure hunt. It's going to be amazing. But this book, I'm just going to, if it's okay, I'm just going to randomly open. This is number 35. I am grateful for all the lessons learned. What a great one for today.
Yes.
Sometimes in life, we are conscious or unconscious to what's going on around us. Great lessons are learned and given in both moments. Thank the Creator for all lessons seen and unseen. Just a random page and just being able to center on something that not only allows me to kind of take a moment for myself, but then also take a moment to think about that. And then again, to your point, what do I appreciate? What are the lessons today that I'm learning? What are the things I'm going to do better tomorrow because of the things I'm learning today? So I think this book, 100 Days of Gratitude, is one that so many people have messaged me after we did our time together. We did beauty and gratitude over the summer, earlier in the year, as a part of our industry intensive beautiful makeup. And I got so many nice messages afterwards saying that people picked up the book or that they loved what you had to say. And for me, again, that gave me pause to get a second one and make sure it was always around me so I could use it as that tool. I think that it's really important for people to think about the fact that we are imperfect, right? We're not perfect. You said it before, D'Angelo. You're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. We're all going to do things that we say, well, that wasn't really very filled with grace, and that wasn't really filled with gratitude, and that was kind of a jerk.
Yes.
Right? But giving gratitude to yourself, that might be a message unseen. Gratitude to yourself for acknowledging that mistake. Gratitude for yourself for acknowledging that you need to become better. That's all really key.
Yes.
It's all really key. Last question for you, and we will wrap our time together, Rob. If you could give someone one piece of advice on allowing themselves to be open to accept gratitude and grace, and allowing themselves to be open to give gratitude and grace, what would that advice be?
That's wow. That could be a long answer, but breathe, listen. That's all it's about. And when I say listen, I don't mean just to other people. I believe that we have angels and guardians and many things around us that we don't see. And there are certain things that it's like an earworm that keeps coming back to us that we need to do. For me, it was finishing my psych degree and going on to get my master's. And that was playing in my ear for 30 years, guys, 30 years. And I saw some of the people here, they have psych degrees, or they're in school for psych degrees. I don't know if you saw that. So whatever is constantly playing in your head that you need to do, honor it. Honor it. If something's telling you to move, transition, go for bigger clients, whatever it is, honor it. Honor it. So that's what my advice would be.
That's important. Where can they pick up this book? I know it's available on the big one starting with an A, but I try to promote other things because Jeff Bezos doesn't need my money. Where can people buy this book?
Okay, actually, Michael, if you go on my Facebook, you can share the link. It's 50% off for the month of February, which is even better. And definitely for TPG,
Amazing.
So if you go onto my Facebook, you'll see a link for a bookshop, and carry that link and share on this platform.
And is that, I'm just making a wild guess, is it D'AngeloThompson.com?
Well, my website is D'AngeloThompson.art/books, but that's going to take you to the big A. We'll just say that. If you go,
you can buy it wherever you want. Just buy it. Just buy it.
If you share that link from Facebook, it's actually 50% off. It takes you to Bookshop, which is my publisher, BookBaby.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Speaking of gratitude, I'm so grateful. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your ideas and your thoughts, as you always do. This has been the Powder Group Conversations with D'Angelo Thompson on grace and gratitude. Our program today is sponsored by Skindinavia, Cinema Secrets, Omnia, Senna Cosmetics, Beekman 1802, and Muse Beauty Pro. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to everyone joining us. Our podcast will have this on it tomorrow, as will our YouTube page and our Facebook group. So thank you, D'Angelo.
Thank you, Michael. And happy Black History Month, everyone. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you, babe. I adore you.
Bye guys.
Have a safe day. Stay safe, everybody.
Yes.